Looks like we're in for a wild ride in the markets today as debt ceiling talks take center stage and inflation numbers come in a little bit hotter than expected. So we should see a little bit of action. Futures up on the positive debt ceiling resolution with IRS funding in the spotlight. So right now, House Republicans are on track to get some of their things that they're asking for, including rescinding some of the $80 billion allocated for the IRS last year in the Inflation Reduction Act. So we shall see if there's an announcement imminent today or tomorrow on final deals and conclusions of the debt ceiling. That's a big one. And then, of course, inflation is another one. Inflation rose 0.4% in April and 4.7% from a year ago, which came in a little bit hotter than expected. So with, labor market continuing to be strong, the economy continuing to be robust, inflation continuing to climb, that gives the Fed enough ammunition to raise another quarter point next meeting in June, 25 basis points, which isn't a whole lot, not going to really move markets or affect things. It's kind of, at this point, 25 basis points isn't going to affect things a ton. But at the end of the day, the big thing that the markets are going to be looking at and weighing is the higher for longer conversation, with inflation still being a problem. The markets have priced in rate cuts by the end of the year, still even at this point. So I think as we get further and further into the summer and inflation continues to be a problem, the job market remains strong, the economy remaining strong, it gives the Fed, just more reason to keep rates higher longer and not even think about talking about looking at rate cuts anytime soon. So here's the Dow kind of hanging out, had a few down days here last few days. Let's put some moving averages on here. And these are the daily moving averages. Kind of finding support on the 200-day. NASDAQ well above everything, with the AI stocks leading the charge, S&P on the 50-day moving average. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin on the 100-day. The interesting thing for Bitcoin is finding support on the 200-week moving average, which has historically been a very strong level of support for Bitcoin, even though it's obviously very young in its history. The only time it's really spent any significant time below the 200-week moving average was back here in 2022, last year, when the bottom was put in. At this point, is this the macro bottom? Is this going to be the bottom for the entire cycle? We don't know that yet. There are some good technical indicators that would say that this could be the bottom, but also there's a lot of things still in the economy that we could come down, retest, potentially break it. But there's a lot of great technical indicators that would show, including the halving cycles and things like that, that this could potentially be the bottom as price kind of consolidates and accumulation starts to take hold, moving into the halving. And then, as we know, we've looked at it before with the halving cycle, that price always jumps after the halving. It can pop up and dip before, but then always kind of jump back into it once we approach the halving. Ethereum kind of hanging out, doing the same thing. I think a lot of the investment capital has gone into stocks lately. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. With the big bounce the last couple of days was NVIDIA. There's NVIDIA jumping, I think, from the low of Wednesday all the way up to the high of the last couple of days. That was about a 32% jump. One of the biggest gains in market cap, setting a new all-time high. And then the other chips, AMD getting a little pop off of it, Taiwan Semiconductor getting a little bit of pop, Intel lagging and dropping because they are left out of the party. And everybody is talking AI all across the board. Every company now is talking AI, because if you mention AI, stocks will pop and bring capital into the game. And so if we look at the banks, PacWest had a nice little bounce the other day. All the banks got a nice little bounce because PacWest sold off a commercial loan exposure for a loss. So the good news was they got it off their books. The bad news is they took a loss. So interesting, all the banks got a little bit of bounce on that. So right now, banks are still kind of hanging in there. With the next rate hike, we'll see if that puts anybody at risk. Let's take a look at the VIX. Had a little bounce yesterday, back up into the 20 range. And as we know, when the VIX is high, that tends to put pressure on stocks as the VIX rises. As the VIX drops, that's generally, when you're at the higher levels and, maybe overbought conditions. Dixie kind of still running up, looking for that 105 level to get checked. The 2-year approaching recent highs at that 5% level. Short-term rates are, through the roof right now because of obviously debt ceiling and recession fears and things like that. The 10-year marching back up towards that 4% level. So we'll have to see how these things shake out. Oil kind of hanging out. The Saudis, OPEC, are probably going to do something about this to get the price back up as soon as they can at their next meeting. And gold had a little bit of a rollover here, kind of hanging out. So, right now, everything is just kind of in the wait and see mode, once again, looking for the Fed. Also, if you're new to the channel, I talk about all things entrepreneurship, real estate, investing in development, stocks, cryptos, global macroeconomic environment, buying business, starting businesses, all kinds of things. And just wanted to remind you, I have a free training, real estate investing training coming out tomorrow. I'll be doing a live training tomorrow at noon Eastern. And I will also be taking questions. It's not going to be a YouTube live. This will be done on Zoom. So you can go to my website. I'll put the link below, dickersoninternational.com or gregdickerson.com. You go to my website, sign up here for that live training, and it'll give you the opportunity to ask me questions, anything you want. It's going to be mostly real estate focused, but also we're going to be talking about, the economy, the macro environment. If you want to ask questions about business, entrepreneurship, whatever it is, you can go here and register for that training. And, we're going to be talking about, from a real estate standpoint, how to get started, how to scale your existing business, maybe get into commercial, multifamily, or development, how to find deals, evaluate deals, raising capital, how to build your team and find the right, guidance, to expand your knowledge and expertise, my outlook on the economy and the real estate market, what's going on in the real estate market right now, in the housing market, as well as commercial. Learn how to invest passively. If you're interested in investing passively, what do you need to look at from an operator standpoint? If you're wanting to invest with somebody who's doing deals and you just want to be a passive investor, and if you want to become a private lender, hard money lender, how does that work? What do you need to be doing, and what do you want to look out for there? So we're going to go over all of those things tomorrow, noon Eastern time. And again, I will be taking your questions live. So go ahead and register for that and get signed up, and I will see you on the training or the next video.